Hey guys, welcome back to Roots and Refuge. Today I'm going to take you guys around on my farm chores while Jessica and Miah are still traveling back from Malia's move from Vegas. I'm getting started a little bit later in the morning today because yesterday we had Ezra's little birthday hangout with a couple of his friends from school. We ended up not doing it around his birthday because it kind of fell right in the middle of the end of school and Jackson graduating, so we had to put it off a little bit. But so I had a couple of extra boys here yesterday and did a little party. So this morning I kind of got a little bit later start. Not super late, just a little later than normal. We're going to start with milking the cows. That's going to be the first task for today. That's why I'm already out in the barn. Got the milking station right here. And then we're going to go around and check water, feed everything. There is one thing that I do have to do today that is not an everyday thing, and that is moving the sheep onto new grass and moving their house and everything that goes along with that. I don't have to move the chickens today. They still got a couple of days left on the spots that they're at. So yeah, we're going to do some farm chores. Start with grabbing feed. So this is Freya. This is the cow I've got in here first. She's our first milker for the day. Hope will be second. Freya is one of my favorite cows. She is one of the most behaved cows we have. She also lets her milk down easy. As you're going to see here in a minute, Hope is not the same. You're going to have to work for that milk. She makes you really massage her back because she likes to hold back more than is healthy for the calf. If I let the calf just eat off of what Hope produces, he ends up getting scours pretty bad because it's too much milk. So it's just an attitude thing or a personality thing. But this is one of the reasons why Freya is my favorite cow. I do like Fern and Helen also. Me and Hope kind of have a complicated relationship, but I don't dislike her. She's not the top cow for me. So before I let Freya out, after she's done eating, I'm going to spray some natural essential oil fly spray. I think we get this from Synergy Animal Products. We get it pre-mixed because it does go into an oil base. It's not a water base. The oil helps coat their coat and keeps the flies off throughout the whole day. But we'll just do a mist over her top, a little mist on her bottom, and then I'll let her finish eating, and then we'll swap her out. So one of the things I have to do with Hope is I can't just dump her entire bucket of feed in the trough because she likes to push it all up into the corner and then kind of scoop it out. And as she does that, she picks up a bunch and drops a lot of feed outside the bucket. Which then I either have to sweep up and put it back in there for her to eat or just waste it. It's something like probably 20% of what she gets in a one feeding, if I do it that way, gets wasted completely, or it adds more work for me. So what I've started doing probably the last 2 or 3 weeks is dumping in about 20% at a time, and then she ends up having to spread it out more because it's not just a big pile. Takes her longer to eat, so it gives me more time to get the milk out because, you know, she likes to hold it. And two, I haven't had to waste 20% or sweep up that because there's not enough in the bucket for her to kind of scoop the way that she has been. So this is a much longer process than what we just watched with Freya. So this is Hope's. Like I said, I'm just going to give her about that much to start with, and then I'll keep adding to it as we're going through the process. So of course, the one time that I'm filming and talking about how difficult Hope's been in letting her milk down, she actually just lets it down with pretty much no issue. So sorry about that. It was fairly easy, which I'm actually grateful for, but I'm sure by tomorrow, whenever I'm not filming, she'll go back to what she was doing before. But we got a pretty good amount of milk. I'm going to get it into jars, grab what feed I need out of the feed room, and then we're going to go out and finish our farm chores. I've got to put a bale of hay out for our jerseys and the goats, and I need to move the sheep. We need to check on feed and water on the chickens, both chickens, and then we need to feed the boar and mama pig out in the woods. But that's it. Doesn't seem like a lot. Moving the sheep's kind of an extensive job, but like I said, shouldn't take us too long. So this jug is Freya's milk, and I've already strained it. Hope's milk is still in the milking container. This is the strainer. It's got a series of two metal mesh screens, and then a cloth filter, which are these little discs right here that goes in between it, and that's how you filter out different hairs and particles and stuff that gets in the milk inevitably, or like flies that land in it when we're transferring it from container to container. But so Freya gave us 3 gallons, which is pretty good. I'm curious to see how much Hope gave us. This is more than she usually gives. Like I said, she was being unusually agreeable today. So we're about to find out how much milk she gave up. My guess, based off of how much is in this container right now, is that I think she actually gave 3 gallons also, which she doesn't do that very often. So, you know, maybe it's because you guys are here hanging out with her today. So I was right. It was 3 gallons, almost perfectly. Front 3, or the front 6 jars were Freya's. Those are Hope's. So we got 6 gallons for this morning's milking process. One thing that is different since the last time I showed you guys my milking process is I actually use this price gun now to set our date for the day's milking, rather than using a Sharpie to write on top of the lids, then have to use a magic eraser to scrub off. And that doesn't always do a good job. It was making the lids look gross. We were going through a lot of magic erasers, which I didn't like, and so this has been way better. When the lids come out of the dishwasher, the previous stickers just kind of rub off real easy. And if they don't, it comes with a scraper. So you just scrape the sticker off, and then you just price gun the new date on top of the lid. The milk's going to go into the freezer for 3 hours, and then we'll come back out and take it out and put it in the fridge. We do the freezer because it helps slow down any bacteria that got in there that you don't want, especially with it being raw. It just helps slow down any bacterial growth. And then we can put it straight in the fridge, and then it's good. Well, I say good, it's really good for a lot longer than store-bought milk, because this raw milk doesn't really go rancid. It just, as it gets older, it turns into buttermilk, which then you can turn into other stuff. Becomes a little more sour, but it still actually doesn't taste horrible. But it's probably good for like straight drinking, cereal, things like that, for like 10 days, and then 8 to 10 days around there. After that period, we generally just turn it into other stuff, sour cream, cottage cheese, whatever. So yeah, there you go. To finish up milking, I've got to hot water and soap scrub everything that's got milk on it to make sure I get any of the buildup and residue off to reset for tomorrow. And then we'll get on to the other chores. Before we head out of the barn, I've got to feed Gabriel. Which, if you've been watching this channel for a decent amount of time, you might remember that Gabriel likes to take his feed bowls and hide them. So we ended up coming up with a system to prevent that from happening again. We've got right here, his feed bucket is tied to this H-brace. Feed goes in. There you go, Gabriel. Good big boy. Good boy. And that keeps us from having to drive around the pasture trying to figure out where his feed bucket or feed bowl is. What's up, Josie? Josie and Paisley thought that they were coming up to get some treats, but not today, guys, not today. The only other feed I need to grab out of the feed room before we head out is the pig feed. The chickens, we've been giving them kind of like a choice feeder, and it holds about 3 or 4 days worth of feed in it, and I'm fairly confident that they got filled up yesterday. We're going to check them just to make sure, but I'm not going to bring the feed with me. If I get out there and for some reason that they're not topped off for the weekend, then I'll come back and get chicken feed. But I'm pretty sure that we filled them up yesterday. While I was in the tractor yesterday, I went ahead and grabbed a bale of hay from the hay barn. And now we're gonna get it out to the cows. Let's see. Definitely want to turn the Energizer off first so we don't get a surprise. Let's see. Okay, so this one needs feed. So I will have to go back to the feed room and grab a bag of chicken feed and at least come top this one off. We'll check the other coop, but now I need to grab my egg basket and collect the eggs. Got a pretty good egg count out of that coop. When it gets hot, you got to make sure you get the eggs. Actually, sometimes twice a day, because especially when you have roosters, they'll start developing just off of the natural heat. You don't even have to have a broody hen, and then it makes it even worse if you've got a broody hen. As it's getting closer to 12, I haven't checked the time yet, but it's getting pretty close to that. It's getting hotter and hotter. I'm sweating more and more, but that's part of it when you get a little bit of a late start. But we'll get back on regular routine tomorrow when I don't have a bunch of extra boys running around and try to stay up as late as possible. I'm going to swing over and drop the pig feed off because that's fairly simple, and the sheep are going to take a lot longer just because I've got to set up a new fence and then move their house and redo their water and things like that. So we'll go feed the pig and then we'll move the sheep and then we'll call it a day. I'm going to drop the eggs off at the pantry before I go over to the pigs, and then I'll come back after I'm done with the sheep and put these in cartons and put the date on them. Right, big guy. Okay, so I'm kind of having a trouble finding a way to shoot the angles of setting up and moving the sheep pen. So I'm going to swing back by my office and grab the drone. I'm going to put the drone in the air and get some footage just kind of pulled back so y'all can get a better angle of what I'm doing as far as setting up the net and moving everything. All right, we have gotten all of our farm chores accomplished, and I'm really regretting not getting an earlier start because it is getting very hot, if you hadn't noticed. I'm covered in sweat, so I've still got to go get 5-gallon buckets, probably 6 or 7 of them filled up with water, bring over here to fill up their water. I still don't have any water lines on this side of the property. I'm looking at possibly getting an IBC tote that's a clean one that hasn't had any chemicals in it. I may end up having to just buy one new because I've been trying to find one locally and haven't been able to find one. But essentially it's a big, 360-gallon tote that I can pick up with the forks of the tractor, and I can essentially just put a hose on the front of it and drive 360 gallons of water around and fill up different things. So that way, when we've got the ram out in the field, they can go further out away from the house. Chickens, if they're further away from water, we can move them to some other grass areas because, we haven't, because they need to be close enough to water that I can fill it up. And then we've got these sheep out here and they're not even close. So yeah, it's a little tedious filling up the 5-gallon buckets, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up now. I actually have no idea how long this video is going to be, but I feel like I probably have got more than enough. So I'm going to sign off here. I thank you guys for coming around the farm and doing some farm chores. So I hope you guys like it. I hope that it was enjoyable. And if it's something that you guys would be interested in seeing more of, let us know. We are discussing possibly coming back with a Miah's video doing farm chores and actually keeping that on Roots and Refuge and not putting it on Miah's workshop, and then leaving a lot of the construction and building stuff and tips like that, on that channel. We're still kind of figuring things out. We've obviously got a lot to balance with Beulah and the farm and what we're doing, but we're going to have some announcements here pretty soon with the direction of just, I don't know, kind of getting back to our flow, I guess is really the best word I could think of. So thank you, and as Jessica would say, I bless you until next time.